Hello and welcome to your learning log 0.3. In this learning log, we're going to be talking about chemistry equipment and the periodic table. The purpose of this is to make it more efficient when we get to labs. We need to have a common language as to what the lab equipment is called. Please title the next free page in your learning log or in your notebook with learning log number 0.3, chemistry equipment. So on the screen you see a couple different pieces of glassware that we'll have them in different sizes. The one that kind of looks like a cup is a beaker. The other one is an Erlenmeyer flask. There are numerous different types of flasks. The main one we will encounter is the Erlenmeyer flask. It's kind of that cone shape. Both of these are used to hold liquids. They can be used to heat liquids, but we very, very rarely ever use them to measure, because there's a lot of error within these measurements. So this here is saying that it is up to 5% off of its measurement. So that can be significant. So if it is 100 milliliters there, that could be anywhere from 95 milliliters to 105 milliliters. So we use these to hold liquids, to heat liquids, to mix the liquids, but not to actually measure out liquids. This will be what we'll use to measure out liquids. We'll be using a graduated cylinder. We have them ranging from 10 milliliters to right around 500 milliliters. Typical would be about 100 milliliters. When we use these, we measure to the meniscus, which is the bottom of the curvature, and we'll talk about that when we review measuring in class. We will also use a burette. We will use this for our final labs for Unit 8. We'll use it in our measurement lab in Unit 1. And it measures by displacement. So we figure out where we start and we record that down. And then we measure where we end. And the difference there is how much liquid we used. So compared to many of the other pieces where there's just one measurement, burette will measure by displacement. And notice like here we have 0 in 1 milliliter. So our measurement, our initial, would be somewhere in between there. We will get some practice during our measurement lab during Unit 1. We will have a lab where we will use micropipetters. And we will also use many disposable pipettes throughout just to move small amounts of a liquid. Spot plate really just has different spots where you can do chemical reactions. We will be using digital balances. There are large ones like so. We often will be using these small ones. A key with this small one is it has this tare button there. That tare button will allow you to place like a weigh boat or a weigh paper on there first, and then hit that tare button, and it makes that paper or weigh boat essentially disappear for its mass, and so you're measuring just the amount of chemicals. We will use a Bunsen burner, hot plates. Both of these are used to heat. Bunsen burners can get a little bit hotter and have some unique properties. And then a hot plate, we also have some that can both stir your liquids and heat them. Crucible. So a crucible is made out of ceramic, so it can get really hot. Caution with that is it looks the same hot and cold. So we'll use a crucible tongue to both pick it up from the side, or you can actually pick it up using that middle piece here. And then here we have a clay triangle that is using to hold up the crucible as we're heating it. Mortar and pestle used to crush things up. We won't use this very often, but we may encounter a lab with it. Test tube and test tube holder. If it is a Pyrex, it is meant that it can be heated up. Safety goggles. We will be using safety goggles, not glasses in class. And so the goggles you will need to purchase for this lab. You can get them at Walmart. I would actually recommend you go to Menards. We have both this variety and the ones that are about $8. These are going to be a little more comfortable throughout the labs. So I would recommend those, but these will also work.